Hi everyone, and welcome to lesson 4 of our English language writing for the GCSE preparation. If you're sitting a GCSE this year, next year, the year after, and you want a little bit of a booster on how to do your creative writing and your transactional writing, how to plan it, structure it, what to include, what not to include, there should be some good stuff in here for you. So in the last few weeks, we went through character arcs, narrative types, 5 senses, something I call FOPPS, and then something called flesh and bones. If you don't know what any of those are, they are in the previous videos. I highly recommend you check them out. Today's lesson, we're going to actually dive into a model answer of a creative piece, which was done by one of my current year 11 students. I think about 6 months ago, they did this. I think it's a fantastic piece. A lot of my students, I've already used this piece with them, but I've never really done a full deep dive on why it's so good and what is in here that you should be trying to also put into this. Just want to say for the record, any models I use, my students have given me full permission to share this with them, share this with you from them. So we will dive in and read this. As I'm reading it, feel free to think in your own head, of course, about what he's done really well. Some of the things that we will judge a creative writing piece on are listed here. So I just want to reflect for a moment and think about that. And a lot of what we've been doing with the previous sessions where we're looking at how to plan these answers, things like that, are ultimately trying to encourage you to do a better job of these things. So we want to have strong, interesting characters with some form of character development. Now that's obviously the character arcs. We want to have a sense of setting. Ideally, we, as the reader, want to feel that we're in a particular setting or place and get a sense of what that place is like. So quite often the 5 senses will help with that. The setting will often also help with the genre of writing. So if it's a sci-fi piece, it might be more likely to be set in space or set in a parallel universe or whatever. And if it's like, like an action piece, maybe there's the bank robbery or whatever. Yeah, so the setting is important for establishing genre as well. We want a crafted narrative. In this case, he has used what's called a non-linear narrative. I've talked to you before about the different types of narrative. So you've got linear, non-linear, quest, you've got viewpoint. There are several others, but those are 4 that I would recommend. You want to be considering your pace and tone. This is part of the FOPPS. So your punctuation, your paragraphing, your sentence forms, all of these things should be helping to create a sense of pace, whether it's a slow pace to create a sense of calm or a sense of tension, or a faster pace to create a sense of excitement or a sense of panic. I should, as I read this as an examiner, I should get a sense of the pace and why it is being used to create an atmosphere of some sort. Obviously, we want an engaging story. It needs to be an interesting story. If you're doing a piece about, some guy filing their taxes and they're just sat at a desk and they're just, writing on a piece of paper, probably not going to get the best mark. I mean, it's possible to do a very focused piece on a small activity and build a lot of tension into it, but try and make sure that it is an engaging storyline with some ups and downs, highs and lows. Make the reader feel something. You need to use a variety of language devices. You need to use a variety of structural devices. And this is, again, what I'm saying about FOPPS. So try and use particularly punctuation and particularly sentence forms. Try to use some really short sentences. Try to use some really long ones. Try to use not just commas and full stops, but also semicolons and dashes and hyphens and ellipsis and question marks and exclamation marks and dialogue, speech marks, all that good stuff. Your spelling, punctuation, and grammar has to be fairly good. If you make a few mistakes as you push your vocab, we will actually reward better vocab, even if it's spelt slightly wrongly, than trying to keep it safe using just simple words like red and big and yellow or whatever. Like, we want you to push your vocab, even if you make a few small spelling mistakes in doing that. It's better that you're ambitious with your vocab. So that's a list of things. Now, I believe that this student has pretty much nailed all of this. I would give this piece a level 9. I'd give it pretty close to just full marks. Out of 40, I wouldn't remark this if it came back as a 40 out of 40, put it that way. That's how good this is. Okay, so let's without any further commentary, let's read the piece. I'll probably read it through once just so you can actually enjoy the story. After all, stories are meant to be enjoyed. And then we'll go back through and I'll give you some thoughts on why it is as good as it is and practical tips on what you could do to improve. Today's lesson is a bit different as well. It might be a bit shorter, maybe because I'm not going to do a model paragraph. The entire lesson is based on a model answer, right? So the old man stumbled while going up the steps. They were wooden, in contrast to the stone floor which he had been walking on. The crowd jeered at him as he fell, his weak arms attempting to break his fall. He was yanked back onto his feet by the masked man beside him. Men in red uniforms with muskets slung over their shoulders looked on, evidently soldiers of the mighty British Empire. The old man looked to them with hatred and pleadingly. The armed statues stood still. A new voice was heard over the din of the mob. Simon Jones, you have been found guilty of piracy and thereby be sentenced to hang. The crowd cheered at this, and the old man was dragged further up the steps. The voice spoke again. Simon Jones, captain of the Dying Angel, has committed crimes of murder, theft, and treason. This was true, the old man reflected. He had murdered hundreds, be it British naval warships, other pirates, or civilians. He had also captured cargo ships for gold before sinking them with the crews and passengers inside. He has also committed treason during his first fight, when he had been a Marine in the Royal Navy. He had deserted, joining pirates in a fight. He remembered ramming his saber into the unsuspecting captain's back as the masked man led him to the top of the stairs. There it was, the brown loop of rope with a wooden stool next to it. The old man, after becoming a pirate, had been reunited with his long-lost father, who turned out also to be a pirate. They had bought a ship and named it the Dying Angel. The old man remembered the figurehead, a carved wooden statue of an angel with a skull as its head. After his father died, a musket ball to the head, the old man had replaced the old skull with his father's. He did this so that his father would still lead him and their ship into battle, a scowling skull looking to the horizon. That all ended when a shot managed to shoot the skull off, and 5 British ships had emerged from the mist, chasers raking through their ship, the thundering crashes and gushes of flames emerging from black muzzles, awakening the crew. Although the Angel was strong and with 100 guns, her unprepared crew had no chance against the 5 battle-ready 74s, which surrounded the ship and proceeded to fire broadside after broadside of well-trained round shot. The old man still remembered the splintering wood, slippery from pooling blood and entrails. The old man had realized their doom and handed himself to the British with a hope that he could live. The redcoats had made him stand and watch as the fire swept through his own ship, before telling him that he would be taken back to Britain and hanged. The old man had tears in his eyes, remembering the demise of the Angel as he stepped onto the scaffold. The crowd had started chanting, "Hang him, hang him, hang him," in a steady rhythm. The masked man slipped the noose around the pirate's head before walking slowly behind him. The sky was blue, the hot sun lighting up the gallows. Gulls circled overhead, and the crowd peaked in excitement. The old man clutched at his pendant with his weak, bound hands. It was golden, with the symbol of all pirates, the skull and crossbones. The old man thought again of the sinking Angel, the men jumping off the doomed ship, crying for mercy as the muskets flamed, whipping balls into the helpless men in the water. He also thought to a battle much longer before, commanding the men while his father captained the ship from the helm, the well-trained crew firing balls efficiently into a British second rate. The masked man was now standing behind the old man. The pirate's hair was grey, and so was his skin, which had chasms and ravines of wrinkles and scars sprawling across it. At an unseen signal, the executioner tensed. The crowd fell silent. The stool was kicked forward, and the old man felt a short sensation of falling. Then he knew no more. Okay, so there's the piece. It's a wonderful piece of writing. It really is. It's very skillful. As I said, I wanted to read it through once with you. I put some things in bold to help me think about what I want to comment on. But we have vivid characters. whether they're the protagonist, so we get to know this pirate. We have an interesting relationship with the pirate because we know that the pirate is evil and has done bad things, but we also feel a little bit of a sense of pity for his demise here. Clear character development as well. So this is his fall arc. So effectively, he started off as a naval, not an officer, but a person in the Navy, effectively one of the British Navy who have now captured him and are hanging him and bringing him to justice through his own bad decision to stab his own captain in the back. He has then gone and followed in his father's footsteps as a pirate, made bad choices, and now it's judgment of that, justice of that, right? So there's clear character development. There's also some really nice static characters. So you have the masked man, who obviously is the hangman, the person who's gonna hang the pirate. You've got not much description of the father, but you get a sense of what the father was like, because when the father dies, and the father dies by being shot in the head, so that's a pretty vivid description of it, or thought. The son cuts the father's head off and puts it on the front of the boat. So you've got this very gory image, and you've got the skull, the scowling skull. So the sibilance of that also gives a sense of the character of the father, the fact that the father was probably quite mean-spirited and always looking for a fight and sort of gruff. You get that sense of the father, even through those little symbols. And then you've obviously got the crowd and the soldiers. So the soldiers are this force that are just there, right? The student who wrote this talks about the armed statues stood still. So you get this image of the soldiers in their red uniforms, which is obviously also very vivid, and their muskets slung over their shoulders, which is quite intimidating, just stood statuary. They don't move much. It makes them very powerful and very intimidating. So those are vivid characters as well, even if they're more in the background. And then throughout the whole thing, you've got these references to the crowd. So the crowd jeered, the crowd cheered, the crowd peaked with excitement, and then the crowd fell silent. So the emotions in the piece are shown through the characters pretty well here as well. And the characters, what's interesting is the characters also form part of the setting, because part of the setting here, you've got the scaffold with the hanging apparatus, you've got the soldiers all standing guard, and then you've got this big crowd that are jeering and then cheering, and then they fall silent. So the characters can often also help to form the setting and the environment, and I think that that's clearly done here. He's also done some fantastic little moments of setting that are quite minimalist. So you've got the wooden steps, which he comes off from the stone floor. So you get the coldness and the hardness of the surrounding area. You've got the gulls that are circling overhead as the crowd is waiting. The gulls are this sort of foreboding reference, because obviously once you hang a body and hang a person and it becomes a corpse and a body, then the gulls and the vultures and other stuff potentially, fly in and start to peck away at the flesh and eat. It's disgusting, but it gives that sense of setting, again, this harsh, hard setting. And then the sky even is really interesting, because it's this brilliant blue with this hot sun, but we get the sense that this is not a positive image of the death. Maybe there is a little bit of a sense of the beauty of the death, like the justice, that he kind of does deserve this, but it's almost like this overwhelming sense of the sun being too hot and his final moments being fully exposed for everyone to see. So again, the setting is really good here. Now, you might be wondering, how would I write a piece like this? So the student that wrote this is someone who is, by his own admission, a military history buff. He reads books on military history all the time. It's one of his hobbies. He plays a lot of sort of war and strategic games, board games, video games, that sort of thing. So he's really into this topic. I've said in previous videos, try to write about what you know and write about what you love. So your piece probably won't look anything like this, but unless you happen to like military history, in which case go off, it's great. But your piece will have this level of detail if you write about something you love. Or the other option is you can write about places and people you know. That's a great option too. So the setting could be your house or a place you have gone in your childhood, a place that is vivid to you, and that will help you to create these vivid characters and settings. So write about what you know, write about what you love. And that also comes through in the way that the student writes in technical language. So, he talks about the battle-ready 74s. That's a type of ship. I'm not going to pretend to know what that means exactly because I am not a military history buff. And proceeded to fire broadside after broadside of well-trained round shot. So again, I believe this is where you're shooting your cannons at a particular point on the boat you're fighting with. But this technical language really helps to immerse us into the piece more. Even if we don't fully understand it, it shows that you as the writer do. So that's really impressive as well. Write about what you know, write about what you love. The crafted narrative. Now, one of my favorite things about this piece, I'm going to have to send this to the student who wrote it as well. They're going to get a real kick out of me just complimenting their work for like 20 minutes, right? But these are things that you can learn from. So he chose to do a non-linear narrative. And what he does really well is he seamlessly goes from the present, where the man is being marched on to be hanged, to the past. So I'm trying to find, there's several places that he did this, but one of them is, I didn't put it in bold, so that's my fault. Yeah, so the old man had tears in his eyes, remembering the demise of the angel as he stepped onto the scaffold. So it's in the present right now. The old man is walking on the scaffold, but we're being reminded of the past. And we've also got where's the other one? I really should have put this down. That's my fault. The old man, as there's another moment in here where he talks about basically where he's being walked along, but he's just remembering the past as he does it. Maybe I'll be able to find it in a minute. But yeah, it's a great way of using nonlinear to kind of transition from the character in the present tense doing something, and then the character thinking back and flashing back to something else. You see that in movies and TV all the time. You'll have a character who's like maybe deep in thought or something, and then it like flashes back, analepsis, to another time. So it's a great way of framing those nonlinear moments. The pace and tone is clearly well established. There are moments of crazy panic. So you've got the bit where, there's the guns all firing at the ship, at the angel, and they're surrounded and so on. So this is a much longer, more complex sentence, followed up with this really gory imagery of the pooling blood and entrails. So all of this pace and tone creates excitement and anxiety and stress, basically, right? So that's longer, complex sentences building out pace. But then we've also got these very short, simple sentences which help to create this tension, suspense, drama in the final moments. So at an unseen signal, the executioner tensed, the crowd fell silent, the stool was kicked forward, and the old man felt a short sensation of falling. Then he knew no more. Short sentences, short clauses, slow pace, tension, drama, emphasis, right? He's crafting his pace and tone really well. It's clearly an engaging story. I mean, I can't really explain it any other way, right? It's got an interesting storyline. It's fun to read, even if you're not really into these types of stories, which typically I'm not, but it's been written in a clearly engaging way. And the reason that it's engaging is because it has well-developed characters, vivid setting, all this stuff builds up to engagement, right? A variety of language devices. I haven't really spoken much about that, but you've got all of this detailed description. So the face has chasms and ravines of wrinkles and scars. So this is a metaphor. Obviously, you can't literally have a chasm in your face or a ravine in your face, but it helps to show how old the pirate is. You've got a lot of symbolism in here. So you've got the symbolism of the skull and crossbones. You've also got the symbolism of the father's skull being the one that replaces the skull of the dying angel. You've got this very gory imagery of the pooling blood and entrails. So you can imagine, or slippery as well. You can imagine that these people like slipping on the blood of the decks as they're trying to fight back. The symbolism of the brown rope, the brown loop of rope with the wooden stool. So that's obviously symbolizing the hanging that's coming. You've got the sibilance and the metaphor of the army as statues standing still. So clearly, you've got lots of great use of different language devices here. And I could go on, there's more, but language devices. Structural devices, we've already talked about pace and tone. He does use more than just commas and full stops, right? He uses a colon here. He uses a little bit of exclamation marks. I think there's a question mark possibly somewhere. There's some dialogue. He's using, you've got the dashes here. He's using a variety of punctuation, and the analepsis, that's also a structural device, like shifting the focus from one thing to another. Again, he's doing a great job of this. His spelling, punctuation, and grammar is fantastic throughout. His vocab is pretty good. If I were going to take a mark or two off for him, which would be really harsh, then it would be he could push his vocab even harder than this. So as you're writing your pieces, really push your vocab. Get a word of the day app or add some sort of vocab building exercise into your day-to-day. There's a great app called Wordle that I recommend to all my students. If you're not doing that, try and do that, plus word of the day. Push your vocab, especially if you're only 8 to 10 weeks out from your exams now. You don't have long to build this up, and try and read more in these coming weeks as well. So that's the first model. I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that gives you some inspiration of what you need to do in your piece. This is, as I say, if it's not near full marks, it's dang near full marks, level 9, 40 out of 40. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, please comment down below. We will do another model answer on a totally different piece next week from one of my former students, just so you get a sense of a couple of different types. Yeah, so good work today, and I'll see you in the next one, if I can manage to stop the call.